Hi, this is Myra with Boutique Paint. I hope you are all well and recovered from your stuffed bellies of a week ago of Thanksgiving. This week we're going to kind of shift gears from making Christmas stuff and making Christmas gifts or gifts in general. And I'm going to be working on key rings. I ordered these off of Etsy and they're leather. So I ordered these from Etsy and they came in a little package with the rings and the little doodads to clip it together. I'm sure there's a technical term for it, but I don't know it. And then these cutouts. If you have a Cricut, you could do these also on a Cricut. I would just suggest that you lay it on the mat this way, because if you lay it down with this, and this is not how they tell you to do it, but if you lay it down with this side, it makes your mat a mess and it's kind of a pain to clean up. It's doable, but anyway, we've cut out lots of key ring shapes with our Cricut and we really enjoy doing it. It does take, with something this thick, several rounds of going around. With a design this simple, it would be pretty quick. You could go to Tandy Leather if you have one, or a leather shop, or even one of the craft stores might have something like this. Like I said, I ordered this from Etsy. The person I ordered it from was really fast in shipping. I ordered it, I think, on Thanksgiving. I had it by Monday, so I was really impressed. And I will put the link, and they come in different colors. They come in a whole array of different colors. So I will put the link for that in the notes down below. So let's get started. You have less surface, obviously, on one of these, and these come thicker also to stamp on, but it's still turned out pretty cute. This is is it Lock and Key? No, it's not Lock and Key. It's I can't think of it. So it's the back plate stamp. I had to go get it because I couldn't remember the name of it. And I use this one. But you can basically use whatever. What you could do is you could trace out on paper what you're wanting to do and then stamp it out and see how it looks. I did that with this one, experimenting with, did I want the C cut out in the middle or not? And that was a good way just to kind of get a feel for it. So before you start, these have a little bit, this one's not too bad, but if it has a lot of fuzzies, you can just take your scissors and just kind of trim the edge of it and get rid of that. And I obviously have ink on my hands because I'm getting it on this already and I haven't even started. I keep baby wipes close so I can clean my hands when I'm doing stuff like this. All right, so I am using, this is from the Alpha Bellies. They're just kind of some leaves, and I'm going to use stone ink, and this is IOD stone ink. Just a little note, I mark both the top and the bottom of my ink, because stone and black, you can tell the difference, but if you're just grabbing and going, it makes it easier. And that way you're matching up the same lids too. So I'm just gonna stamp this on this project. You don't want it super juicy. The sisters are always telling you make them juicy, but your stamp pads, but this is a little bit better to not have it too inked up, your stamp pad. I'm just gonna center that and go down. And you want to be very careful about movement. And there we go. Very cute. So the way you can tell if it's dry is with a clean finger, not that finger because it's got ink on it. Just go down and then straight up. And it's a little sticky, but no ink came off. So I'm going to go ahead and move forward. And what I'm going to do is first I'm going to put the long shafted piece through, and then you fold it and push that through. Then you need your ring in there. And you put that through. Then you want to put the top cap on. This is a little harder. And then you just push with your fingers until it snaps. Now what I do is I take it a step further, and you can do this a couple different ways. You can take a mallet and like a towel underneath so that you don't mark up whatever you're pounding with into your underneath surface, like your dining room table or countertops or whatnot, and take a rubber mallet and just tap it. Or you can take a paper towel, and I'm going to wrap it, and then I'm going to use a pair of pliers. And the reason why I'm wrapping it is because you don't want to damage that piece with these teeth. So I'm just going to go in there, I'm just going to squeeze, and you can feel it snap again. And then that's all you need to do. And it's on there, just like that. Super simple. Now remember, of course, you can use different color inks, and these come in different colors. So let's set that one aside. So this next one I'm going to do is going to be a monogram style, and I kind of played around with how to cut out the letter for the center, since these don't come with a mask. I'm using letterpress, which is IOD's newer letters, and they come smaller, which is really nice. And basically, because it didn't come with a mask, what I did is I took the stamp and I just inked it up, and on a piece of paper I just went ahead and stamped it and cut it out. And on this, I'm going to leave a little bit of an edge. I'm not going to cut right up to the C. And then cut out the center. And you can tell on this, I did one with cutting out the center and one without, whichever one you prefer. I kind of like the one where I cut it out. But it, like with the A in this set, you wouldn't have to necessarily cut out the triangle. Oh, I'm having a time here. These are little. But you wouldn't have to necessarily cut out the triangle in the A. And it might be difficult. You might need a razor knife. But play around, stamp it on a piece of paper first. Get a feel. You could even draw out the piece that you're going to stamp on, and then stamp it and see the overall look. Okay, there's our C. I'm going to move all of this. And I think I'm going to, on this, I did black for the C, and then I did stone gray. But for this one, I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a color. And this is an old IOD color when they first started. It's called Athens, and it's just one of my absolute favorites. Kind of wish they'd bring back something similar. But that being said, you can make your own color. So I did have to add ink to this. So if it's too juicy and you can kind of see it on there, you can always take your paper towel or a piece of paper and just lightly, and it'll pull off some of that. We'll see how we do here. You want to go down, try not to shift. Make good contact. There we go. Very good. Okay, now we're going to take our C, and you want the ink side up that you just stamped. And you don't have to really worry about this being dry for this part. Set it down. Don't move it around though. And then I'm going to use stone gray. And because this one's fairly dry, I can ink it up pretty good. I'm going to do this at an angle so that the design goes up the little arm there, goes straight down. And hopefully, I should have probably dried that. Hopefully that didn't smear the C now that I think about it. We'll see how we do. I didn't have that problem with the other ones, but this is different ink. Oh, it's not too bad. But it kind of lost a little bit of the ink onto this. So maybe dry that first. This is the newer ink, and I did it the same way, and the ink did not lift off. So I think it might be a difference of this being an old mixture, formula, I should say. So I'm going to go ahead and re-ink my C very carefully, and then I'm going to go down, try to go right down on top of it and re-ink it. There we go. I dried this with the hairdryer, and I'm going to go ahead and make this one up. This is basically the same as the one we did before this, except you're only putting in 2 layers of the leather. So put your bigger piece, I'm trying to, through the hole, have your key ring, and then just set that, push that through. Once again, put your little back on there, and here you can hear it snap. And then we'll get, I got some ink on this, I'm gonna have to be careful, but take your paper towel, wrap that, and then take your pliers and push, and you can feel it engage. And that is it. So on this one I'm going to emboss, and this one I did a little sample with the alpha bellies. This one I'm going to use the back plates, and I'm only going to use this florally area because the center might look a little strange. So on this one I'm going to use the China blue. I think I'm going to do it this way. And this part will be hidden. So I'm going to just kind of drop it down a little bit. And then the other side. Very pretty. So then I'm just going to do a little bit of the tip here for this, because this will show also. All right. Then I'm going to use, this is distressed embossing powder, but any embossing powder and any ink for this process would work. You could also use clear. I'm using the blue because I'm using a blue chunk embossing powder. It's okay to pour way too much on this. Now we're going to turn it over and just kind of tap it so we get all the excess out, and this is going to be very pretty. There we go. You can also take a paintbrush and get in there. I've got a little extra just sitting here that once you emboss it, it'll be there permanently. I think it would probably add to the overall look. I'm not too horribly worried about it. but that's pretty. Okay, so we're going to put this away, put it back into the bottle. That's why you're not worried about using too much, is because you're just going to turn around and pour it right back into the bottle. And the good thing about that is it takes the chunks out too. So just have a separate piece of paper there so that you can do that. And the reason why you want to put that away before you start your heat gun is because it'll blow everywhere. All right, so I'm going to pull the heat gun out. So I got my heat gun, and this is going to be noisy, but just to show you the process. And you won't want to hold it because it's hot, but I'm going to just show you. So when you're doing this, you may want to put down like a cookie sheet with a towel underneath, especially if you're doing it on like your dining room table or something. This is a workbench, so I'm not worried about overheating anything underneath it. But you can see when you're embossing, if you haven't done it before, it kind of turns into kind of a plastic, and it kind of melts together. And it turned out quite pretty. And it'll be warm for a little while, so just, you know, walk away from it for a few minutes, let it cool, and then you can do the next step. This is decently cool. This end's a little bit warmer. I'm going to go ahead and move forward though. Oh, before I do this, I did want to do a little silver around the edge. This is a metallic silver. So we're just going to take this and we're going to just run it along the edge. Now, if you want a little bit of the silver to come onto the front, just push a little bit firmer and run it. And just the slightest bit, I don't know if you can even see it, will edge it. I'll try that again because down here there isn't enough pushing against that. And you go around your edges. And then with this will take a little bit longer to dry, and just be very careful when you're touching the other edge because you can smear. So just go. And they're done. A side note, if by chance you do smear a little bit, like right there, I've got a little bit of a smear. I don't know if I've got a Q-tip in here. Oh, I do. Good. You can take a little bit of rubbing alcohol. Well, first you could just try, you know, swiping it, and it doesn't look like, oh, there it went off. You can just, but if it's being a little stubborn, especially with the IOD ink, just use a little bit of rubbing alcohol. Just get in there with a Q-tip or a paper towel, and it will take it off. I did do that. I messed up a little bit when I was doing my first rounds of testing, and the rubbing alcohol took it right off. But that's going to turn out super cute, I think. But I'm going to let it dry since I did the edges before I put the hardware on it. If you have any questions about any of the products that I used here today, you can go to our website at www.boutiquepaint.com. And thank you so much for joining me.